Good morning, y'all. I just had a really strange dream, and I don't feel like getting up and turning on the lights. So whatever. Um, it was a dream about like clones and transhumanism. And in the dream, I was going on a date with someone. And it didn't seem like I was in the US. It seemed like a third world country just looking at the setting. Um, and we went in this particular place, and it was like very shabby looking. And the guy was like, "Oh, it might be shabby looking." He's like, "But this is the best food." And I looked around, it was like a horrible neighborhood. And I was like trying not to judge because I'm like, "Oh, this is a third world country in my mind. Like, what do I expect it to look like?" And and we were eating, blah blah blah, talking. The food was really really good. And there was an older black woman that was like the owner, and she was serving everyone, and there was a cashier and some other, she was like personally putting the food on everyone's table and talking and greeting all the customers. And there were waiters taking the orders and stuff. And all of a sudden I got this feeling in the pit of my stomach, like, it's time to get out of here. I just felt very very wrong. And I was like, "I don't feel well. I think it's time to go." And he's like, "Are you sure you really like this food? You didn't finish." And I was like, "No, I can't eat anymore." I was like, I need to go. I gotta go. Like, I couldn't even explain how deeply I felt like something was wrong. And he was like, "Okay, one sec. Let me just go pay the bill and we can get out of here." And he went up to pay the bill. And when he did, somebody sat in the booth. It was like as if I was sitting in a booth, but it only had one side to it. And the other side was a table. Like, we were facing the table towards the front door. And there were people in there and everything. But I don't know. It was like just sudden that I didn't feel right. And this man sits next to me. And he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh," he's like, "I just saw, a beautiful woman having dinner by herself or having lunch by herself." And I was like, I'm not alone. Please get." And I was like, "You know what?" And I went to get up. And when I did, another man, one man, like, it was a white man that came up and grabbed my arm, my right arm. And the person who sat next to me was an Asian man, and he grabbed my left arm, cut the strap on my purse, and took my purse. And I screamed, and it was like the white man was dragging me, like trying to wrestle me, because I was not going with him. And it was like the person that I was on a date with tried to get over there, but there were people like trying to fight him to keep him from getting to me. And then it was like another fight going on in the restaurant. Like, it looked like a movie scene. I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" And I was like, "That guy got my purse." And the next thing I know, the white guy, he stabbed me in the arm with a needle. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "He trying to inject me with crack or something." Because I saw people like outside doing drugs or looked like they were on drugs or something outside. And he let go for a second, and it was like my date grabbed me and he had my purse, because it was like the guy took something out of it and kept going and dropped the purse. And my date had my purse. And the weird thing, it was like my actual purse that I have in real life. Now I'm finna change it. But anyway, um, we tried to go out like a side door. It wasn't the same door that we came in. We tried to go out a side door and like to get a taxi or something. And when we did, the white guy grabbed me again. And it was like we were right next to a marketplace. You know, like how they have like a marketplace, like old style flea market with the tents and stuff. And he grabbed me again. And he pulled me so hard that I smacked my face like in the side of somebody's tent. And I was still trying to fight this man off of me, and he stabbed me again with another needle. And I was like, mother, bleep, 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 bleep. And I was like, you know what? I'm sick of this. And I ran towards him because I was like, you think you just gonna like keep stabbing me with needles or something? I don't know. I was pissed off. And I don't know what happened to my date. It was like somebody pulled him off and they were like jumping him. Like a group of guys were jumping him, stomping him. And I was like, you think you just gonna bully me? And I went towards him and I punched him in the face and like really hard. It hurt my hand. And, and he was like, oh, you're a feisty one. And he tried to punch back at me, but I ducked it. I ducked the punch or whatever. And he was like, oh, you're smart. And the next thing I know, I went to punch him again, and it was like the moment my hand hit his face, the Asian guy was back and put me in like a chokehold, and they held me down and put another needle in, and it was like I was stuck on the ground, like whatever they injected me with. I kept thinking that it was drugs, but whatever they injected me with, it was like some sort of sedative, and I just felt my body feel like lead, like as if I could not get up off the ground if I wanted to. But in my mind, I was like cursing them out, and they were standing over top of my body, and I was like, bleep, bleep, bleep in my head, and I was like, I'm gonna get you. But I couldn't actually speak. I couldn't do anything, and it was like, boom! I woke up, and I swear I was in the exact same marketplace, but it felt like it was a year later, and I was so thirsty. I was so incredibly thirsty, and nothing and no one was in the marketplace, which is weird. And I went back to that restaurant because it's the only place that had like a, it seemed like as if people were going inside or people were inside. Like I could hear the noise. And I came inside and it was the same woman, everything, same waiters, everything the same. And I was like, ma'am, I'm so thirsty. And I was like, I don't have any money. They stole my pocketbook, but I'm so thirsty. She's like, oh, I remember you. Have a seat. Have a seat. And she served me like a big bowl of soup and this huge pitcher of water. And I was drinking. And it was like all of a sudden, my ex-boyfriend, like my first boyfriend from when I was like 19, he sat down next to me. And I was like, what the hell are you doing here? And he was just like, are you okay? You look sick. You look sick. And I was like, I'm not sick. I was like, some white guy and this Asian guy were attacking me and they stabbed me with drugs. I was like, I think I've been addicted to drugs or something. I don't feel right. And he was like, I never known you to do drugs. And I was like, me either. Of course. And he was just like, I think you're sick. Like he was basically trying to insinuate that I was mentally ill. And he's like, I'll pay for your soup or whatever. And it was like all of a sudden, boom, this feeling hit me again. And when it hit me again, it occurred to me that it was this place, not the people, but the place, like the owner, the woman, the waiters, that they all had something to do with it. But anyway, all of a sudden, I was like, oh my God, there's the Asian guy. Like I saw him sitting in the back of the restaurant eating some food. And the next thing you know, that white guy came in, and I told my ex-boyfriend, I was like, that's them. That's them. That's the people that injected me with that stuff. And he's like, who? And I pointed him out, but I didn't point at him. I pointed with my eyes. And he was like, okay, bet. And he's like, I'm going to go. He's like, I'm just going to leave the money on the table. We got to figure out a way to get out of here. And he actually was a policeman in a third world country, as a matter of fact. But we were not in his country. Anyway, he was like, we got to figure a way to get out of here. And the next thing you know, the table with the Asian guy and the white guy, they go to sit down to each other, and there's like another third person that's making like as if he's not sitting with him or not a part of their conversation, but he is. And he comes up to our table and asks, can he have the hot sauce? And I just looked at him and I knew, I knew that he was part of them. And Max was like, "Oh yeah, you can have the hot sauce." And he takes the hot sauce and he takes my cell phone. And I was like, I hit my ex real quick. I was like, "Dummy, didn't you see that?" I was like, he took my phone." And so he came back to him and he asked him for the hot sauce. And the guy was like, "Oh, I thought you said I could use it." And he's like, "But you didn't take it. Now give me that hot sauce." And he snatched the phone back, but already the man had taken something out of my phone. He took a picture, or it was like he did something to duplicate the phone very, very quickly. And and my ex came back, and it was like the moment he was walking back to the table, they grabbed him. And somebody grabbed me, or tried to grab me, but I ducked under the table and I was like crawling on the floor. And all of a sudden, I bump into somebody wearing, I bump into myself. It's like I noticed from the shoes to the clothes, everything as I'm standing up, that this person is me. And I was like, what the? But it was like an android version of myself. Very, very weird. It was an android version. It was the same exact skin tone over top of what I knew to be metal. Like I knew that it wasn't human, but I was looking at myself and I was like, what the hell? And she reached out and touched me and said, "Go into the bathroom." And it was like as if the commotion, the fighting, and everything was still going on in the restaurant, but it was like she told me to go into the bathroom. And when I did, she was standing outside the bathroom window and she's like, "This is the only way out." And I was like, "Why are you helping me? What are you?" And she's like, "Obviously, I'm the new you." And I was like, "The new me?" And she's like, "What do you think you got injected with?" "We weren't injecting you, we were extracting." And I was like, "We?" And like just totally baffled. And she's like, "Come this way. This is the way. This is the way." And I climbed through the window because at that point, like people were banging on the bathroom door and I had locked it. And I was like, well, it must be the only way out. And it's like right standing next to her, I saw another one of them. And it was the white guy who had stabbed me. And a little bit further up the way that they were telling me to go was the Asian one, the Asian guy who snatched my purse. It was a version of him, but just like an android version, transhuman. Like, oh, it was so weird. And they were like, "You're not supposed to be here." When they helped me through the window, they're like, "You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to coexist with us." And I was like, "How did I get here then?" And they were like, "That's not your ex-boyfriend." And I was like, they were like, "He's one of us." And they're like, "You're not supposed to coexist with us. You're supposed to be underground. How did you get up here?" And I was like, "What?" And they were like, "Underground." And it was so weird because in my mind I was thinking about the movie, damn it, not Get Out. What's the second one? Us. I was thinking of the movie Us. It was like as if I was aware that all of a sudden, and that's where they were trying to lead me to, back to safety. And they were like, "If you get caught up here, they'll kill you." And the version of myself took my hand and we were running, running, running until we got to like this metal door. And when she went to open the metal door, is when I woke up. I don't know. It like did not sit right in my spirit. Very weird. Um, very weird. Like as if we're just gonna be replaced one day. Not like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like we keep talking about we're fighting a war, but what is the war even against? I don't know what. I don't think we even have a clear picture of what we're actually fighting. Anyway, that was the dreams.